Arkansas Game Day, presented by Bud Light, the world's favorite light beer.
Green gets the call. He's got room inside the 25, inside the 20. Green's going to the house. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
Burks is going to go. Traylon down the sideline. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Good morning, Arkansas. It is a beautiful, crisp morning across the natural state. And for the first time since the beaches were stormed at Normandy in D-Day in 1944, we have game day against two Arkansas universities and institutions. A historic day, an historic time in Central Arkansas at War Memorial in Little Rock. I know a lot of y'all probably driving from the Northwest Arkansas area, from maybe even right here in the River Valley over to Little Rock. Get ready for the first in-state matchup against Arkansas Razorbacks and the Golden Lions of the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Drew Barrett, Ty Richardson here with you for the next 2 hours on this historic day in the state that we have not seen since the greatest generation. Ty, how are you doing this morning?
That's quite a setup.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's why you wanted to double check if it was 44 or 43. I can see why. And as a guy that loves anything World War II, documentaries, books, and whatever, kind of takes you back. And obviously at 26 years old, I was nowhere near that age. Nowhere was near a thought in my grandparents' head at the time. But, yeah, good setup this morning to get us going. I think people are charged up now because I don't think there's been a lot of juice around this game this week. But I think you just added the supplies that was needed.
Well, you got to. I mean, when you're talking about a game against a Division II team, a team that's 1-5 with their only win over Lane College, and I'd give $10 to anybody who could call in right now off the top of their head and tell me, one, where Lane College is, and two, who's the most famous alumni of Lane College. Do you want to earn $10? Do you know who it is?
Who's the most famous alumni of Lane College? I believe Tommy asked me this question where Lane was earlier this week, and I had no idea, and I didn't have the wherewithal to go look it up after he asked the question. I don't have a great answer for you.
Lane College is located in Jackson, Tennessee. Their most famous alumni that most of you football, especially NFL fans, will know is former Houston Texans and Baltimore Ravens wide receiver return man Jacoby Jones, one half of the Mile High Miracle back in 2012 with Joe Flacco and advancing to the Super Bowl. Had a touchdown in the Super Bowl and one of the longest kickoff returns for a touchdown in NFL history with 108.
I was going to say he caught it near the back of the end zone and then took it to the house. I do remember the play itself, but I would be remiss if I told you I knew who you were going to go there with the actual alum there.
Yeah, I had to double check it because he actually coached at Lane for a few years now, back up in the Baltimore area. But we're not talking about Lane. That's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about UAPB and the Arkansas Razorbacks. And when you have a game like this, and you know, it's not many people want to hear you break down the X's and O's, right? Not many people want to know what type of offense, what type of defensive set you're going to see out of the Golden Lions today at War Memorial. It's more about the backstories of it, right? You know, talk like I started with the open, first game against two Arkansas institutions since 1944, since the greatest generation, you know, beat Hitler. I mean, we're talking of that's how long this has been. I mean, some of your grandparents were in high school, or if you're of an older generation, some of your parents, you know, maybe just now being born, or your grandparents are starting to get together. So this is a long time coming, and that is a historic thing. And that's something that I think a lot of people, well, maybe one reason why they're going to this game is just to say, hey, I'm doing something and I'm seeing something that people have not seen in almost 80 years. And that's something, and that's a part of history you can be a part of. Now, they're going to switch it up. They're going to be playing Arkansas State in 2025. Are they playing? I can't remember. Are they playing an Arkansas institution in 2023? Or?
You would ask me that.
I know A-State's in 25.
I don't think there is now I'm probably incorrect. I don't remember them having another in-state program between now and then. I don't think they play UCA or another in-state school in football. Now, basketball and baseball and others will be a different story, but I don't think. I'll have to double-check on that. I know there's a variety of different non-conference opponents that they've scheduled out. I can't remember 100% if there's an in-state one.
Well, we do know there's at least going to be one more, with Arkansas State here in 4 years at War Memorial. And so you talk about that aspect of it. You talk about that part of the history of this long history of the Arkansas Razorbacks, and the wide debate of why they don't play in-state schools. You talk about it. I've heard it a lot more from the A-State side, growing up in West Tennessee, a heck of a lot closer to J-Town, Jonesboro, and I had a lot of friends that are alumni of Arkansas State, and they kind of talked about it. They complained about it, and it's finally on the books. It's finally going to happen. So you get that aspect of it. Then you get the historic aspect of War Memorial, and we're not here to open up the stadium debate, the home debate, but when you have a historic stadium like this, you talk about all the great games that have been played there. It's still one of those places that, as an Arkansas fan and just as a football fan, you can walk in and you have one of those feelings of looking around going, okay, this is where that happened. That's where this happened. Oh, my goodness. I've seen video from that corner of that end zone. So you still have those nostalgia moments, right? So there are still some benefits from playing at War Memorial, especially for people that haven't been going to those games their entire life. I've only had one experience in War Memorial. It was a great game. Got to see Dak Prescott and the Mississippi State Bulldogs play the Arkansas Razorbacks in War Memorial. It was a great game. Arkansas came up short. I believe State won on a late-minute field goal there to give Dak Prescott and Dan Mullins and company the victory. But it was cool for me to be there for the first time, and I know it's going to be cool for me, hopefully in 2023 or 2025 when they're back in there to just kind of look around and have that nostalgia type of feel. Do you have nostalgia when you go back to War Memorial?
Well, I'm not going back today, but as a Central Arkansas kid, you related to certain corners of the end zone. I was in the corner of the end zone where Matt Jones threw that pass to DeCorey Birmingham. I was there when Casey Dick found London Crawford. I don't think I was there for blocking the rock when they blocked South Carolina's kick. Could be wrong. Could have been a very young Ty Richardson who was in the stands at that point. But there's several others. I know Mike Leach has been open and honest. The loudest place that he's ever played while he was the OC at Kentucky is War Memorial because of just kind of the infrastructure of the stadium. There are some great legendary moments inside that stadium that have happened over the years. And but like all things, what do we always say? All good things must come to an end. And I think a lot of Arkansas fans, particularly even in the Central Arkansas area, are understanding that it is just so much more beneficial to play in the stadium that you've invested so much more on. And that's tough on fans that are in Southern Arkansas, Eastern Arkansas, or Central Arkansas that either can't afford to go to Fayetteville or it's not in the cards because of family, jobs, whatever the case may be.
Sometimes it's not practical due to time. I mean, that's why when Arkansas played at Ole Miss, a lot of people texting, calling, saying that this is the first Arkansas game that they're going to go to, and it's probably the only one just due to the vicinity when you start talking about the east side of the state and the south side of the state. So you do like the aspect that it does open up the state, and ultimately, like you said, all good things must come to an end. But the games in War Memorial were a good thing. It was one of the best parts that spread Arkansas across the state, that made it the state's team. I mean, you think about it. You think about when 1944, Fayetteville was a sleepy college town. I mean, it was no bigger than Tuscaloosa. It was no bigger than College Station, no bigger than Auburn. You don't think of those places as metropolises and as cities on the rise and on the growth, but that's what Fayetteville has become now. It's now the second largest metropolitan area in the state, right behind Little Rock, and I wouldn't be shocked if, in the next 10 years, it is rivaling or surpassing, Little Rock when you bring in Springdale, Bentonville, Rogers, Centerton, and everything else up in the NWA. So it did something to help grow the state. Without that, who's to say that A-State doesn't play in a little bit more of a hold in the state? Who's to say that a lot of your Southeast Arkansas fans don't just naturally go to Ole Miss or Mississippi State, just closer to it. Even Southern, you go down, you might have to have an LSU type of feel, Texas, if we're talking about the southwest corner of this state. When you made it centralized, you helped grow the brand, and you helped grow the one state, one team mentality that the national state has.
And there's a handful of people that need to be heavily credited for that. You start with the name that everyone resonates with. It's the late, great Frank Broyles and what he was able to do to bring the state together. And he was the one that was highly against, because he didn't want fans who were fans of other programs to have a reason to cheer against the Razorbacks. So Frank's up talk. The second one that doesn't get enough credit is Clay Henry's dad, Orville Henry, who did a fantastic job writing about the Razorbacks and really caused a statewide phenomenon that everyone wanted to know what Orville was saying about the Hogs. And then third would probably be Paul Eels. Paul, just the calls he had. I think he got here in the mid-'80s, if I remember the timeline correctly. Could be a little off on that. But Paul, just his voice, his personality just made you like the Razorbacks. And really for a guy that hasn't got enough credit for what he's done, not necessarily for just football and basketball, but Chuck Berry with the baseball. At one point in time, Arkansas baseball was an afterthought, and Chuck made it. We know that Norm DeBryan and Dave Van Horn made the programs what they are, but Chuck made it a bigger brand than what a lot of people initially thought it was going to be. So he doesn't get enough credit for his time, his effort, the hours and hours he spent talking with different program directors, GMs, and owners of radio stations across the state to make Arkansas baseball a statewide reach as it is. Because you think about it, Drew, Arkansas football, basketball, and baseball are so successful. You don't find that in most college towns, not just college towns, but states themselves, where each of those three sports are so highly looked forward to each and every year.
Yeah, you really don't. And I mean, even in the conference where it just means more here in the SEC, there's never really that straight line of excitement. There's the roller coaster, right? You have whether if let's just use Ole Miss for example, the roller coaster, the high for football, down for basketball, high for baseball. It's the same thing with State. Tennessee, unfortunately, is starting to kind of plateau there if they can get their football program going. But for down at A&M, another roller coaster. Yep. Type of feel. So to have that constant excitement around all three of your major programs, you even bring in women's basketball. Season tickets have shot through the roof. Most of the lower bowl, if not all of it, has been sold right now in Bud Walton Arena for the women's team. So to have constant excitement is just what you can point to as the lasting legacy of all those guys that you just mentioned. 877-377-6963. Drew Barrett, Ty Richardson, taking your calls, your texts. Let us know if you're on the way to Central Arkansas, what your plan is, and what you want to see out of the Hogs today at War Memorial. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day, presented by Bud Light. The killer crossovers, the nothing but net jumpers, the tenacious throwdowns. Ladies and gentlemen, basketball is back. DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports, is celebrating the return to the hardwood by giving new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Playing daily fantasy hoops is easy. Just pick your lineup of pro basketball ballers, stay under the salary cap, and rack up points for three-pointers, rebounds, assists, and more. Score big and you can score big cash. And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, it's the perfect time to show off your basketball IQ. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app and use code KJM. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code KJM. Only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. This is Arkansas Game Day.
Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Need a reason to smile? River Valley Smile Center can give you one. We are a comprehensive dental practice located in the heart of Fort Smith. From cosmetic dentistry to orthodontics, implants to sedation, we have everything you need for a brighter, healthier smile. Find out why we've been voted the River Valley's best of the best winner 4 years in a row by giving us a call at 479-646-0706. That's 479-646-0706.
Are you looking for a great deal on a previously owned vehicle but want to avoid high-pressure sales? If so, you need to visit Edwards Auto Sales in Rowland. For over 31 years, Ernie Edwards and his staff have helped folks from Arkansas and Oklahoma River Valley buy a quality vehicle and offer a buy here, pay here in-house financing program as part of their services. Some restrictions may apply. Come visit Edwards Auto Center, 3 miles west of the Garrison Bridge, the first car dealer on your right, or log on at edwardsautosalesinc.com.
Loading the kids in the car, brokering peace in the back seat, mastering the snack handoff without even looking. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple, so you can worry about more important things, like figuring out what's growing in that cup holder. That's simple human sense.
Call Kohler Green Insurance today in Fort Smith, 484-9888, and Kohler & Green Insurance in Van Buren, 474-9888, or online at kohlergreen.com.
Don't drop the ball. Talk to your doctor about prostate health today. A man has a 1 in 7 chance of developing prostate cancer in his lifetime. It's the second leading cause of cancer-related death in Arkansas men. Catch it early. It doesn't have to knock you down. Join the Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation and their partners for free health education screenings for men ages 45 to 75. Go to arprostatecancer.org for a calendar of screening events near you. When it comes to prostate health, don't drop the ball.
Law's Drugstore in Fort Smith has COVID vaccinations available today for you and your family. Law's Drugstore has the Pfizer vaccine for ages 12 and up. The vaccine is safe and effective in preventing severe cases of COVID. Just call 452-6116 to schedule your appointment or stop by Law's Drugstore at 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family. Call them now, 452-6116.
One time at B-Dubs, this crew came in hungry for flavor in football. Lucky for them, we've got both for days, especially on Boneless Thursdays. With buy one, get one free hot and crispy boneless wings and football on wall-to-wall TVs, that crew couldn't leave hungry if they tried. Get here for Boneless Thursdays at Buffalo Wild Wings, to the greatest of all times.
BOGO boneless wings of equal value at participating locations on Thursdays. Not valid with other offers. Size exclusions apply while supplies last. Limit 1. Fees may apply.
For more than 80 years, Forest Grin Inc. has been building the foundations of the River Valley and beyond. Forest Grin, a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence, is now hiring experienced dump truck drivers. CDL Class A or B license with medical card is required. Apply now from any mobile device at forestgrininc.com, a heritage company and a premier employer. Forest Grin offers top wages and benefits. Apply today at forestgrininc.com. Become part of the Forest Grin legacy. Apply now on any device at forestgrininc.com. Forest Grin Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day, presented by Bud Light.
The Razorbacks have won it for the first time since 2003. The Hogs are 4-0.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
And welcome back. Drew Barrett, Ty Richardson here with you, taking you all the way up to the Arkansas official pregame beginning at 8 o'clock, hosted by our very own Phil Elson. Going to continue to take your calls, your texts, 877-377-6963. Let us know if you're traveling over to the central part of the state from wherever you are, if you're already in the central part of the state and you're planning on an early morning tailgate. Also, I've got to drive that way today. Let me know how the traffic is on I-40. I keep seeing the signs. If you're from the River Valley, you're from the Northwest Arkansas, right there where 49 and 40 meet that eastbound for 5 miles, there's lane closure. So I kind of need to know how much time to give myself since I'm heading that way today. But we're here to talk about the Razorbacks versus the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions. And ultimately, before we get into this game and what we kind of feel like this game is going to turn out to be. We've talked about it all week about the offshore line of minus 51.5. You don't think it will be what Sam Pittman said earlier this week in a quote-unquote barn burner. I think he just got his terms mixed up there a little bit, but it's going to kind of be the way that you want it to be. It's going to be almost a second bye week with a lot of backups playing. But before we get into the guys that we expect to see a lot of today, let's kind of talk about how we got here. And you heard in the intro, Razorbacks 4-0 in the month of September. It's been a very rough October. When starting off first weekend at Georgia, then you lose the heartbreaker 52-51 to Ole Miss, and then kind of just to cap off the misery and the bad taste in your mouth with the loss at home on homecoming against Auburn last week. So the biggest, what has been for you, Ty? What has been the biggest difference from September to October? Has it been injury bug? Has it been the talent level that the Hogs are playing, that these teams are just that much better than your Texases and Texas A&Ms, or is it a combination of both? Like, what has been going through your head this month, and how we started 4-0 and how we got to 4-3?
I think it's a combination of a couple things, some of which you mentioned, some I'll mention right here. You're not getting any pressure on the quarterback. Trey Williams had 4 sacks through the first 4 games and hasn't had one since. That's not all on Trey. Some other guys have to step up, and they haven't. Your defensive line, I know Coach Pittman has talked about depth, but, how much depth is there actually when you can't get any pressure on the quarterback? That's probably the biggest thing that stands out to both me, Tommy. I think Clay Henry's been pretty open and honest about that as well. Number 2 is you played better teams, right? I know that Texas A&M beat Alabama, and that's where the first thing you'll point to, but that was Zach Calzada's second start, and Arkansas confused him, and they stoned Isaiah Spiller for the majority of the game. I know he had a pretty decent first quarter, and he had that, I think, 60-whatever-yard run, but for the most part, they contained one of the best running backs in college football, and defensively, they have not looked like they looked the first 4 games, which has stood out to me. And there's other parts like the difficulty of schedule. The offense, I think at times hasn't executed in situations they need to execute. You go 0 for 3 against Auburn on 4th down conversions. You've got to be better in that situation. Cam Little's missed a couple field goals here and there, and they just haven't been as strong as they were the first 4 weeks. And now you got to get back on track against a team. And by the way, I had some buddies that I was playing golf with yesterday, Drew. The line has gone down now. I guess people are betting on the lines. The line is now 48.5. I don't know if that, for all you gambling degenerates out there, I don't know if that changes your stance on where you'd go, but that's where the line is now. Now you just got to get back on track, and whether you win or cover, it doesn't really matter as long as you beat them in a pretty relatively easy fashion today.
Yeah, and ultimately, if this game goes the way that we're expecting, it almost is impossible to ask for a shutout, right? Because when you get down to your 2s and ultimately, hopefully your 3s and heck, any 4s that you have on this team are getting in their reps and their minutes, that Arkansas Pine Bluff, it's going to find the end zone. They're going to find a field goal there. It's very hard to shut anybody out in college sports, heck, in any sport, just to say that you're going to win 59-0. You could win 59-7, but they're eventually going to – there's going to be a fluke play. There's going to be a long run. They're going to find a way to get some points on the board. Yeah. So I don't think that it's shutout or bust. And anybody that's saying that, that's a little ridiculous. It's a little too much to ask anybody. Heck, you can ask Alabama to shut out any D2 or D3 program, and I'm guessing a good handful of them are going to get in the end zone. So it's just not a realistic opportunity. But I would say anything north of 28, would that be good enough for this fan base going forward to re-energize everyone for the next 2 weeks until you play State? Is 28 enough?
Clay always says the feel of it, and 28 to me sounds a little too close. I don't know, that's 28 points, 4 touchdowns, and you're like, Ty, how does that too close to comfort? And I would be more in the 40 range where you're close to covering, but you're maybe right at it, right below it. 40-plus points is what you need to see from this football team. This is a bad football team, and you can hear from Coach Pittman speak, and he's been respectful all week long, and that's how he needs to be, because you don't need to be just bashing your opponent. But Arkansas, and I'll do it for them. I'm the sports radio host. You're the sports radio host. They need to beat the crap out of this team. This needs to be.
We don't have to speak, Coach.
Regardless if it's an in-state opponent or not. And I know Coach Pittman doesn't want to just run up the score. I don't expect him to go for fourth down conversions in the fourth quarter. But they should handle this team physically and just dominate them, demean them up front. Demean them, take away the masculinity from this football team. If they don't do that today, I think you should be concerned the rest of the way. If this game is closer than people anticipate, and I'm not talking about if they cover or not, because that 48 points is still 48 points. But if this is within, 30 or 21 or something like that, I think you should be concerned with how this football team finishes this season.
Well, let me ask you this, and I did apparently convince JT in Hot Springs that the Golden Lions are going to score, as now he's predicting a 73-3 victory instead of what I'm guessing a 73-0 victory is what his original prediction was. But so we're talking about backups, right? And we're going to see a lot of backups. We're going to see a lot of Malik under center. We're going to see a lot of different guys that maybe you haven't seen this year. So you say, around the 30-35 mark, you're a little disappointed, but what if you're up by 45? What if you're up by 49 and it's still really early in the game? There is no running clock. There's no mercy rule at the college level. You have to finish out the games, and the clock will stop, and ultimately those reps will be got by these types of players. So let's say you're up 45 and it's middle of the third, and you've called off the dogs. You feel very comfortable with what you've gotten out of your ones and possibly out of your twos, and you're seeing those 30 and 4-string type of guys, and the score drops below. Is that kind of what Clay talks about with the feel, or is it still you only won by 28?
I think what you just said makes perfect sense, because if you're up big, and again, you don't want to embarrass an in-state opponent.
No.
At least I don't think Coach Pittman is going to do that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they beat him by 75 today. I don't think that's going to happen. But that's, again, goes back to feel. If you can put so many points on, if you see that the second stringers are coming in early second quarter, early third quarter, and you can tell that, hey, the first team did its job. Now you put the second team against their first team, which still held their own, but it wasn't the gap wasn't as definite. That's fine. It's a combination of feel and whatever. And that's why the eye test sometimes is important. We could talk about analytics until the cows come home. But every once in a while you need, and I say every once in a while, I think most football, basketball, and baseball conversations, you have to include the eye test, because there's scores all the time in football. You watch just as much football as I do. The score ends up 42 to 31, but in reality, it was a 3 or 4 touchdown game the whole time. Or in reality, it was a
closer,
3-point or 7, and then they scored late. That's why the eye test is important, and that's why the score is not always an indication of what actually happened during the course of a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true. I mean, just going off the most recent memory of football in my head, last night doing the Springdale-Fayetteville game, and Fayetteville had put up the mercy rule when it was all said and done, but it was a lot closer of a game than a lot of people expected. It was a good game for the first half. Springdale only down by 14 going into the half. Now had a bad third quarter, but you're right. With the feel of it, didn't feel like you got mercy ruled. It didn't feel like you had the sportsmanship rule put out because you just absolutely played terribly. It felt like one team just finally was able to make a few less mistakes than the other, and we see that a lot in football. And I've been a part as a fan where your team wins by 35, and you're just like, we just got lucky. You do feel a little upset. And you have to kind of reel it back and go, all right, that's 5 touchdowns. Like let's not get upset. But in the moment, you're like, we're still making way too many mistakes. There shouldn't be this many false starts. What are they doing? Holding.
Everything went right that day.
Yeah.
And you're still able to score. But at the same time, there was things that you overlooked because of how many points you won by.
Exactly, and it's a lot easier to nitpick at a victory like that when you win by 35 instead of you win by 5, when you're just like, oh, thank goodness we got out there, played a great game, and you don't really think about the negatives when there's so much positive. It's easier to pick out the few negatives than to only talk about the positives. 877-377-6963. More of your texts, more of your calls when we come back right here. Don't go anywhere. Drew Barrett, Ty Richardson right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day, presented by Bud Light.
There are tons of great reasons to cancel cable and make the move to Dish. Let me start with the best one, a 2-year price guarantee right now with Dish from World of Wireless. Call 877-305-DISH today and start your 2-year price.
Gameday Lodge in Branson is the perfect place for corporate retreats, golf trips, and team building activities. You'll find 10 bedrooms with 19 beds for up to 28 guests, 9 bathrooms, 17 TVs, poker table, 2 kitchens, 2 laundry rooms, a fire pit, 2 gas grills, outdoor basketball court, a heated indoor swimming pool nearby, and a 10-minute drive to Silver Dollar City. Not to mention near some of the best golf courses. Just search Gameday Lodge on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Airbnb, and VRBO.
Plus, you got free gifts from Google.
That's right. When you add the Wally to your system with the Playmaker, it's only $7 additional a month added to your service. But you got to sign up now. 877-305-DISH.
Call WOW now. 877-305-3474.
Are you a contractor needing some color picking help for your customers? The Paint Store in Van Buren will do that. We know what contractors need. We've done it for 33 years. Send your customers to us. We will take care of them in a friendly way. Let us do some work for you. Our blend of Richards paint makes the choice easy. The Paint Store in Van Buren is ready to help your customers right now. Call us at 474-4505 or stop by 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements, plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
Don't miss the Hot Spring Spas Factory Pre-Order Sale, now through November 1st at Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. Claim your very own Hot Spring Spa during this pre-order sale and make every day better. Burton's has 36 different Hot Spring Spa models to choose from, so pick your size, style, and color right now. It's the Hot Spring Spas Factory Pre-Order Sale, now through November 1st at Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith, and online at burtonpools.com.
You know Hardee's made from scratch biscuits, and you know they're hand-breaded chicken. But have you tried Hot Honey? A new sauce drizzled on the hand-breaded chicken biscuit? This honey has some bite, one taste, and you'll never hit snooze again. Try it for yourself with the new Hot Honey hand-breaded chicken biscuit at Hardee's. Feed your happy.
Available for a limited time. Participating Hardee's restaurants. Hot Honey hand-breaded chicken biscuit is available during regular breakfast hours. Price and participation may vary.
Nobody has more pre-owned trucks than Harry Robinson's Salasol Ford. Work trucks, heavy-duty four-wheel drive trucks, single cab, extended cab, and four-wheel drive crew cab trucks. Fords, Chevys, GMCs, Dodge, Ram, and Nissans. And with historic low interest rates, no payments for 90 days, and the most for your trade, Harry Robinson's Salasol Ford is the only place to buy your next truck. Harry Robinson's Salasol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salasol.
Bro, your fridge is empty. You need to make a beer run.
Nah, bro. I just ordered my beer from Sodies on their new app. They're bringing the beer to me.
Yeah!
Your favorite store for wine, beer, and spirits now offers delivery in the Fort Smith area. Order online at mysodies.com or on the Sodies app. Must be 21 or older and show ID upon delivery. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day, presented by Bud Light.
The Razorbacks have won it for the first time since 2003. The Hogs are 4-0.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
Welcome back into Arkansas Game Day. Drew Barrett, Ty Richardson here with you all the way up to the Arkansas broadcast at 8 o'clock. Early morning game, 11 o'clock kickoff, and I know when I was doing early morning tailgates, there was nothing better than a mimosa. And the best thing about the mimosa, it's not the orange juice. It's the beer. And the best beer for a mimosa or any part of your tailgate, that's a Bud Light, because it is brewed to be perfect for anywhere there is fun. And I know there's going to be fun at War Memorial Stadium, because when there's fun, there's a Bud Light there. Every bottle can draft a Bud Light uses 4 simple, high-quality ingredients to create a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, please drink responsibly. So, Ty, we're talking about this game and what we're going to see here. And I think the biggest thing that everybody is excited about, is ready to see, is to see how well Malik plays. You know, how much of the offense does he know? How much of the offense can he run? And it's going to be interesting to kind of see, because how much of the offense do you use, right? You don't really open the whole playbook against a team like Pine Bluff. You don't get adventurous. You don't sling it all over the yard. You keep it pretty basic. So are you expecting to see and Kendall Briles and Sam Pittman to kind of say, as soon as Malik gets in there, let's see what he can actually do. Let's see him go through progressions. Let's see him go through this playbook. Or Malik comes in, you're already up 28, 35 points, and you say, hey, let's just coast from here. Let's not get anybody hurt, because you definitely don't want that to happen either.
Mm-hmm. I know following the Texas A&M game, Coach Pittman was asked about just kind of the play design and kind of what they were doing with Malik Hornsby in the third quarter and early fourth quarter before KJ Jefferson came back in. And he talked about, Coach Briles, we had to put him in throwing situations, actually call throws, because if you remember, that was predominantly running plays when he was in there. So I think you'll see more passing plays when Malik is in the football game. Now, from all accounts that are not my own and people you talk to, he's not as good as a passer of KJ Jefferson. We know KJ has some things to work on in the short and intermediate game, and Malik's got some passing things he needs to get better at as well. So maybe this is a game where he can get some more confidence. And I know it's not exactly the highest caliber of competition, but when you are able to work on anything or play in any game, regardless of who you're playing against, it can elevate kind of what you think about yourself and whatever category you're falling. In this case, the quarterback position. So I think you're going to see a more open playbook. Like you said, I don't think they're going to run all these trick plays and all these extravagant off-the-wall calls. But I think you'll see Malik pass it a little more than he has at any point this season, just to open it up and loosen the arm up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be your classic longest yard tune-up game. You know, bring in a team that you know you can win and beat the crap out of them, build up some confidence, go into the bye and build some excitement around this team. And going into the bye, and this is really important to keep everyone healthy, right? You can't afford any tweaks, sprains, any even of the minor stuff. You know, if it's going to happen, you'd rather there be a bye week, but everyone seems to be so banged up that you hope that, we just talked about they need to come out, they need to take care of business, they need to go up, win big and build that confidence. But at the same time, when you go big, you can sometimes go home. And talking about by going home, you can go home with some injury. So it's going to be a very delicate balance to find the mixture of, all right, let's do this, but let's take some off, and that's where Pine Bluff could possibly take advantage of some things. That's where they possibly could get on the board, is when you do start going to be conservative. And it's going to be interesting, because especially with Kendall Briles coming into this week, I think there's a lot more question marks around him and what he is as an OC. I was asked yesterday during my normal slot back in my old station back in Memphis about the confidence of that people are starting to have that Kendall Briles and Barry Odom will be back as your OC in DC. And I think that people are more confident they're coming back, and I don't know if that's really a good thing, because there's been a lot of the questioning of the last few weeks, especially on Kendall Briles. I don't think anybody's upset that they went for 2 against Ole Miss. The play call was kind of questioned, using the short side of the field, not using the left side where you had more room for things to develop.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the Auburn game, basically wasting every single first down play on the exact same run design play, it makes you kind of start to question and scratch your head about it.
I think the important thing, as you mentioned, is just in order to avoid injuries, you get off so quick from the jump and you just beat them to a pulp. That way you can insert your second team so fast that you don't really have to worry about injuries at that point because you've jumped on them so fast. You make it 35-0, middle of the second quarter, and you can already rotate some guys in. That way there's not an elongated period of time where Grant Morgan and KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders, and others are on the field that you get to take them out earlier than anticipated, and that allows for more rest, which they're going to have heading into a bye week, and you're not as concerned with what you just brought up because that is one of the things that we talked about yesterday on the Morning Rush is just escaping the injury bug this week because the last thing you need is more injuries. We know Jalen Catalon is out for the season, your best defensive player, not just in your back end, but on your football team. He is the best defensive player. I know that some of you would say Grant Morgan, maybe you say Trey Williams, and no disrespect to any of those two gentlemen.
And none bad picks.
Yeah, and Jalen is just I think, the guy that is the best defensive player on this team, and you can't have one of those injuries. We know Markel Utsy's not going to be available today. He'll probably, or I say probably, we'll see about his status for the Mississippi State game. You just want to get this team back healthy because you finish the season with 4 straight SEC games. You get State back at home, then you travel to LSU and then to Alabama, then you come back home for a bout against Missouri. You want your guys to be as healthy as possible for that 4-game stretch so there can be a run potentially at the end.
Yeah, and I know we're up against a break, but, talking about going forward and going with finishing out the season with 4 SEC games, and you bring up Mississippi State and Jalen Catalon's injury, and that's the question mark for me, especially leading into this bye week and leading into the State game, is the secondary, right? Because we've seen all season of receivers getting behind your cornerbacks and your safeties, and Auburn was able to expose you for a few big plays earlier in the season. You got lucky. A lot of those times the throw was a little bit off or a little bit behind. But when you play a air raid offense that Mike Leach likes to play, and when you play against a quarterback in Will Rogers that can sling it all over the yard, you can't have the slip ups. You can't have the mental lapse of judgment there to where a guy gets behind you, because that's gonna cost you. That's going to really affect the game here in 2 weeks. So I'm really interested to see how the secondary responds and how they continue to get better week after week.
And this is a great opportunity for these young men to prove that the secondary is not just about Jalen Catalon. Joe Fouché is a pretty solid safety. Monteric Brown had an interception this past game. You'd like those two and others to step up. I don't know, Miles Slushers is getting back healthy again, 4-star out of Oklahoma. There are some guys in the secondary that you're excited about. Simeon Blair wants to show out in front of his hometown. He's a Pine Bluff native. You just got to be able to come together, rally around, and figure things out. And you don't play outside of Alabama, Drew. It's not like you're facing just these incredible offenses down the stretch. I mean, LSU's been up and down. I know that Max Johnson and company, I think it was 49 on Florida, but they've been up and down this season. Alabama, as I mentioned, Bryce Young, that's going to be difficult. Connor Bazelak in Missouri, they've been terrible this year. And you brought up Will Rogers from Mississippi State. Some games offensively they look good, others they haven't. So it's really it's not the same offenses that you face. There's no more Matt Corrals. You're not having to face the number 1 team in the country in Georgia once again. So you got to somehow, some way figure it out. And if Barry Odom is worth this raise that you gave him this past season, I think he's going to be able to. If they struggle down the stretch, then I don't know what you do. Even though you lost your All-American safety, we'll have to have that conversation come following the Missouri game.
Yeah, and that's going to be a conversation, right? If the defense can't get it figured out, and you can't, I think it all starts up front. You got to be able to get more pressure, because when you can't ask any secondary to guard for as long as they've been guarding the last few weeks. So it's going to be a conversation with Barry Odom saying, hey, how can your entire defense really just rely on one guy? And as soon as that guy goes out, it all goes, so it's going to be interesting. You hope they get it back on track today. 877-377-6963. More of your texts, more of your calls, more of this preview of the Arkansas Pine Bluff game, and more right here on Arkansas Game Day. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day, presented by Bud Light.
Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Place to be if you're looking for selection of quality check pre-owned vehicles, Rocky, from Corvettes, Mustangs, you name it. Used pre-owned trucks. You guys have a little bit to offer to everyone.
Man, I've got a ton. We're closing in on 200 used rigs on my lot right now. And like you said, ranges from off-brands clear up to F-250s, F-350s, diesels, and gas burners.
Looking for mid-size SUVs, compact SUVs, you have those as well.
Tons and tons of compact SUVs. Looking for a cheap payment and good gas mileage, we're the way to go.
If someone's had a little bit of hard luck, maybe their credit's not as good, you can also help those buyers out too. They don't have to go to the buy here, pay here lot.
That's just it. You don't have to be an 800 credit score to buy from me.
All they have to do is just come by and ask for Rocky.
Ask for the Rock. Come see me.
There you go. It's that simple. 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Folks, this dealership, 113 years old and continuing today. It's the fourth oldest Ford dealership in America. Come by and see us, and don't forget, you can always shop us online at randallford.com.
This is Arkansas Game Day.
It's a free weekend at World of Wireless. Call 877-305-DISH. Tons of free extras, but you got to sign up this weekend with World of Wireless.
That's right, a $100 Visa gift card when you sign up for new service with the Hopper 3 system. 2-year price guarantee is free. We're going to throw in the free voice remotes. That's in every TV in the house. So if you get 6 rooms, you're going to have 6 voice remotes where you just speak to it, use Google Assistant to find your channels, and we'll throw in 3 months of the free movie channels.
This is great. Plus, you got the free Google Assistants that you can throw in. Get the free Google gift that you're going to give customers right now when you make the move to Dish with World of Wireless.
It's a free weekend. If you want to get installed for the big game this Saturday, call us 877-305-DISH. It's 877-305-3474. Toll-free number, but it's a local company in the River Valley for 26 years.
Plus free installation before the weekend's up, but you got to call now.
That's right. Add that to your free stuff.
All right. 877-305-DISH or stop in now right at the light next door to Frank Rowe Furniture in Barling. It's a free weekend with World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH.
After surgery or illness, you may have many choices to assist you with your path to wellness. At Ashton Place Health and Rehab, they specialize in short-term rehabilitation and long-term care services. Ashton Place is dedicated to providing a home-like environment with a 5-star rating from CMS. They offer a choice of private or semi-private rooms with comfortable, relaxing spaces to get yourself back on track. For more information, call 452-8181.
Are you a contractor needing some color picking help for your customers? The Paint Store in Van Buren will do that. We know what contractors need. We've done it for 33 years. Send your customers to us. We will take care of them in a friendly way. Let us do some work for you. Our blend of Richards paint makes the choice easy. The Paint Store in Van Buren is ready to help your customers right now. Call us at 474-4505 or stop by 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren.
Nobody has more pre-owned trucks than Harry Robinson's Salasol Ford. Work trucks, heavy-duty four-wheel drive trucks, single cab, extended cab, and four-wheel drive crew cab trucks. Fords, Chevys, GMCs, Dodge, Ram, and Nissans. And with historic low interest rates, no payments for 90 days, and the most for your trade, Harry Robinson's Salasol Ford is the only place to buy your next truck. Harry Robinson's Salasol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salasol.
Don't drop the ball. Talk to your doctor about prostate health today. A man has a 1 in 7 chance of developing prostate cancer in his lifetime. It's the second leading cause of cancer-related death in Arkansas men. Catch it early. It doesn't have to knock you down. Join the Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation and their partners for free health education screenings for men ages 45 to 75. Go to arprostatecancer.org for a calendar of screening events near you. When it comes to prostate health, don't drop the ball.
Messy leaks, stopped up toilets and sinks, all of these can be a nightmare. This is Emily with Mr. Rooter Plumbing in Fort Smith. Did you know that when you call Mr. Rooter, you get real-time tracking so you know exactly when to expect us? We know you're busy, so we send a reminder, so scheduling with us is convenient. When you need plumbing, call Mr. Rooter in Fort Smith or book online at mrrooter.com. We're your neighborly company.
I have so many things that need to be done around the house, like fixing the gate on my fence, painting the front door, and that's just a start. I'm not the best DIY person or even have enough time if I were.
Call the experienced crew at Top Notch Roofing and Construction.
Well, isn't that...
I know what you're going to say, but Top Notch does it all. They service both commercial and residential clients with roofing, siding, windows, gutters, fencing, and remodeling. But they also have a crew that specializes in those honeydew jobs piling up at home.
Thanks, man. I'm calling Top Notch Roofing today.
Top Notch. Everything from roofing to honeydews. Call them today.
ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day, presented by Bud Light.
The Razorbacks have won it for the first time since 2003. The Hogs are 4-0.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
Welcome back to Arkansas Game Day. Drew Barrett, Ty Richardson here with you for a little over an hour until we get up right to Phil Elson himself and the gang for the Arkansas pregame at 8. Kickoff is at 11. Early morning, but that won't stop Arkansas Nation from tailgating and enjoying a few beverages this morning. And when you're enjoying beverages here on a Saturday morning, it's got to be a Bud Light, because Bud Light, it's brewed to be perfect for anywhere there is fun, because when there is fun, there's a Bud Light there. Every bottle, can, and draft of Bud Light uses 4 simple, high-quality ingredients to create a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, please drink responsibly. All right, Ty, got a few texts, got a few things on the YouTubes. I might have to time check this because I might owe Mark $10, because I did say I'll give $10 to anybody who could tell me where Lane College is and their most famous alumni. 603. Ooh, that's pretty close.
I think you'll Mark some money.
Yeah, Mark, if you ever see me in person, just ask. I'll need to see forms of identification, though, before I'm willing to
Benton. I think it's Byington.
Until I'm willing to, fork over that $10. But good for you. Good job. I mean, it's a hard question. Not a lot of people know the answer to that. You probably don't know it unless you're looking for it. Got another thing on the YouTube. Hey, Ty and Drew. So can we watch the game now? I thought we could not, but it seems that on the ESPN app, just like normally, it shows up to watch. I don't think you can watch the game right now. It hasn't started. Still got a few hours until kickoff, 4 to my calculation. So
he is and I text Mike back. I think he was in reference. He got the exhibition game confused with the Arkansas Pine Bluff game. Just a reminder for everyone, you won't be able to listen to the Arkansas basketball exhibition game here on ESPN Arkansas or watch it on your ESPN app because it's not being televised and it's not on the radio due to some staffing conflicts. I think that's what Mike got mixed up because we talked about that at points this week.
Okay. And back to the text line. Chad in Bentonville, he's on his way to the game right now, traveling from Bentonville, and he's going to make a pit stop at the local Elch Lodge to pregame and visit with his grandpa. That's always a nice thing to do, involve family with football. I mean, football and family go hand in hand, so no better way to do it. JT in Hot Springs, he says if Malik and the second team offense can look good and score 24 points on their own after the first team puts up 28 to 35, that should be a very successful day. And I think he's exactly right. If they can put up 3-4 scores on their own, you take it all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think any time that your backup quarterback, if he's given an opportunity, he takes advantage of it, as you just said. If he gets in the realm of 3 or 4 touchdowns, you 100% take it. Now, how they get in the end zone, you'd like to see him pass it because we know he can run the football. You'd like to see some passing touchdowns from Malik, but I don't think that anyone's going to be ticked off or anything if he runs it in or if he hands it off to one of the talented running backs on your roster. You just want to see him put up a lot of points today, and especially that second team, which you are excited about in the future.
Yeah, you do. And real quick, I mean, how many passing attempts would you like to see out of Malik? I think it's got to be double digits, right? You want to see – you obviously don't want to see 30 because then if he's getting up around 30, you're starting to think that it's not going too hot. But 10 to 15, maybe closer to 20?
Yeah.
What's the number?
If closer to 20 would be nice, and if he was in the higher completion percentage, if he's in the realm of high 60s, low 70s, that would be even better for me, even if the number's low, just to see his completion percentage being a little higher.
Yeah, 877-377-6963. BE will get to your text on the other side And we want all of your texts and your calls, not only about your prediction for this game, but give us some of your favorite memories at War Memorial for the second hour of Arkansas Game Day. 877-377-6963. We'll be right back on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Check out our selection and savings today at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. If you're in the market looking for a
Lodge in Branson is the perfect place for corporate retreats, golf trips, and team building activities. You'll find 10 bedrooms with 19 beds for up to 28 guests, 9 bathrooms, 17 TVs, poker table, 2 kitchens, 2 laundry rooms, a fire pit, 2 gas grills, outdoor basketball court, a heated indoor swimming pool nearby, and a 10-minute drive to Silver Dollar City. Not to mention near some of the best golf courses. Just search Game Day Lodge on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Airbnb, and VRBO.
They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra, 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Take TV on the go anywhere you go with the new Playmaker system from World of Wireless. Stop in at WOW Now, right at the light next door to Frank Rowe Furniture in Barling, or call